Levant Consulting is an organization that we're there to help support organizations with people problems. So what that really means is if you're going through a change, whether it's changing location, whether it's a new strategies in the business, or you're bringing in new technology, how does that really impact the people in the organization? What do you need to consider to take them from A to B? It's not as simple as turning on a switch. So we really come in to help provide some advice around that. We can have a look at some diagnostics to say these are the particular impacts you need to consider. These are the flow-on effects to the people. And in some cases, we actually look at the way the organization's designed, and we'll say, well, this is how you can reorganize the organization to fit wherever you're heading into the future. I've actually got interesting background, and you'll see a lot of people in consulting do have, a little bit of knowledge from everywhere, because that's really what you need. The crux of consulting is problem solving. But I actually started humble beginnings in finance. I was a young grad doing auditing at one point in my career, moved out into some management accounting roles, and then through that jumped into consulting. So really if you're passionate about, working with different businesses and people and really just understanding how the world works, consulting's the place to be for that. When you work in such a big organization like Deloitte, there's not a lot of tangible impacts that you see in your day-to-day. We're working with standards, we're working with, big balance sheets from organizations that it's really hard to find purpose and impact in what you do day-to-day. Culture is, a foundation in any kind of change. So when you do look at a change, we generally like to say, okay, there's a people element to it, there's a process element to it, and then there's technology. So any kind of change, you need to consider it from all angles. But there's a much bigger problem to be solved underneath all of that, which is culture and behaviors and how people interact day to day. And so the work I was doing with the Inspiring Women's program really opened up my eye to that diversity and inclusion space. And it's not just about the fluffy, we need to bring in different demographics, we need females or we need people of different ethnic backgrounds. It's really about how you can drive business performance by bringing what we call different types of thinking, different toolboxes that people have in their minds. And it's these demographic components of what we have that allows us to have a different way of thinking. So it all comes back to that question of problem solving. How can we solve a problem in the best way possible by bringing in people with different ways of thinking? There's actually research out there that's been done to say that if you had two specific groups of performers and they're operating in a team, and one team had completely, A+ students, all coming from similar sort of backgrounds, private schooled, etc., they're going to give you a really good outcome at the end of whatever task it is that they do. But if you're really looking to get a better outcome, or how can we go from good to great, it was actually a team that they studied that brought a lot of different thinkers. So some of them might have been average students, some of them might have been overperformers, but what they brought was that they didn't all have the same sort of background. So the way that they looked at a problem is different. So you're able to think about things in much different ways and have different solutions rather than everyone coming to the same conclusion in the same way. So the problem with a more sort of homogeneous team, so where everyone's, got similar pedigrees, similar sort of ways of thinking and are really great performers, the problem is they all probably think in the same way. So you've just got a group of the same person and the same brain.